All right, Lee, you ready? Let's do this thing.
I'm so ready.
Okay. Ba 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 ba. Your full screen. Cool.
I'm so ready.
Welcome in, everybody. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
How you guys doing? Welcome in. Welcome to the Exp Talk Show. I am Steve, aka KonkyTalks, and we got our co-host here, Lee. RtwoLeetwo.
Hey guys, Lee back here after a few weeks. Really excited to get back in the grind of things because I miss Konky, not only on the show but just in general. And I'm excited to chat today, man.
Same. Big
Samesies. Big boys.
Big boys in the chat. How you guys doing?
Can't wait to catch up.
Great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hope you guys are having a great week.
You guys hear that?
Friday Junior. We can hear it. Yeah. People have been calling Thursday Friday Junior. How do you feel about that?
I'm not cool with it.
Yeah, I think it's just Thursday, right?
You know, there's a reason why they called it Thursday is because it's a different day. So just treat it as such.
Treat it as
you
a
could
different
put that
day.
in your mind. You could say, yes, it's Friday Junior in your mind, but ultimately it's still Thursday. So you're just like kind of lying to yourself.
That's true.
You know, and you should just call it what it is. Say it's Thursday. Some people enjoy Thursday, like in Thursday is, the show. So that's why I get excited about the week, or why I get excited about Thursdays is because it's the show, and then it's the night before Friday.
Yeah.
So it's just exciting. You're done with your work week, and then you're on to the show, and then you have Friday, and then Friday is the short kind of relaxed day. And then you get into the weekend, and then life is sweet like cherry pie.
It's true. We got a new background. Yeah, Lee. Well, no, Lee, you don't have necessarily a new background, do you?
There's just more shit in my background. It is just, there's, the collection is growing. When you're sitting here at your computer most of the day doing work, you get the notifications of like, hey, Hasbro's releasing another dozen toys of Star Wars stuff that they're all awesome, and you're gonna need to spend your money more. So yeah, the collection is growing. I've got a ton of stuff on pre-order and like ready to come my way, and very excited about that stuff, man. Collecting now's the time to be a collector. Holy shit.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Especially with all this time we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got a Boba Fett prototype. All white armor helmet on the way, full size, and I know it's not going to fit my head. Like, I know for a fact it's not going to fit my head, so I'm excited to try to get it to fit my head.
I'm glad you at least set proper expectations with yourself, because
I mean, I just know my head is massive, and it's like a giant fucking
interstellar.
Just a giant ham. It's a giant ham.
It's a giant ham of a head. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And inside it is just nothing but ham.
I've only got ham in this skull. It's a rum ham.
Rum ham. Speaking of rum ham, so like, I forgot the YouTube channel, but this guy does, and it's totally popular. Like everyone's probably gonna name it like once I say it. But there's like a guy that recreates food from TV shows and movies. And he does it he does the actual stuff, but then he like does like a nicer, like kind of more gourmet version of it. So he does rum ham, and he literally just soaks a bunch of ham in rum, and he tries it, and it's just like the most terrible thing. But then he tries like this like roasted, rum dressing ham or something like that, and it's magical and delicious and stuff. So it's great stuff. Great stuff.
Great stuff indeed. Hold on, let me 1 second. I gotta.
What are you missing out on, dude? What do you think you're doing?
I have 5 seconds. There we go. You gotta be careful with the caps, cutie pie, because when you do it, the bot gets mad. How long has this? It's not a lady. This is fucking Leia's K-pop fan. You see this in the background? You see that?
Someone's just in the window.
I had it turned out so that anybody that was walking outside was gonna get freaked out.
I'm surprised Leia doesn't have like a cutout of one of those K-pop stars, like a full body cutout.
I mean, you say it enough. I mean, if it's available, she'll get it eventually. She'll find a way.
You guys hear that out there?
Way.
P.O. Box 6969. Send stuff to Lee. Right?
Dude, if you got the P.O. Box 6969, that's lucky. That's some lucky gamer shit right
420 69, dude.
Yeah.
420.
420.
69. So dope.
So Lee, let's catch up on our past 2 weeks, man. What's
man,
what's
we
been
got
going
some
on?
things to catch up on.
Our past
My
couple
gosh. We have got some things to catch up on. I would say as far as a status,
good to see you, dude.
A mental status of the current situation surrounding stay at home, and just going out and stuff like that. You know, obviously things are starting to somewhat get looser depending on where you're located. So some people are getting a little bit ambitious and kind of going out. I have some close people in my life that decided recently to like have like a 20-person rave or whatever at their apartment, and I was like, "You're fucking stupid."
Oh.
But so you're kind of seeing some people break the rules a little bit, so that's been kind of frustrating to see. But we whenever we are hanging out with people, we are being safe. We are being comfortable. We're keeping our social distancing when we're outside, and then when we're with people, it's like we're hand sanitizing, we're cleaning up, and like we're just making sure that we have been away from people for a significant amount of time. So like most recently, so past couple weekends, weekend before last, my wife and I took a road trip up to Traverse City, Michigan, which was so fun. So we like drove to Journeyman Distillery.
Okay.
They were practicing social distancing. They had like outdoor seating and stuff like that. So we got just a stupid amount of whiskey there. Got some delicious lunch, and then drove our way up to Traverse City, Michigan. And Traverse City. So and we also went with another close friend couple of ours. So they're married. We both brought our dogs. We found this Airbnb up there that's like right outside of Traverse City. So anytime we would go out, it was just like to go outside and like maybe hit up a couple restaurants that we made sure like allowed dogs and like did outside seating and like separated people and stuff like that. Had the best brunch I think I've ever had, which was like this like fried pork belly, like these thick piece of pork belly with this egg and this like fried green tomato and this like fried cheese thing, and I was just like, oh man,
that sounds great.
And so that was great. Awesome. But like so Traverse City was actually fairly busy in the sense of just foot traffic, but everybody was wearing masks, everyone was staying separated and stuff like that, so that was kind of nice.
Good.
Got to take a dip in the lake up there, and it's like clean and nice. It looks like a tropical beach up there in Traverse City, which is crazy. So got to do that as well, and so that was just lovely. Got back, stayed inside, stayed comfortable and cozy, and then like last Saturday we so my family and I, if you guys didn't already know, are quite Scottish, and so last Saturday was the Chicago Scots live stream of the Highland Games, which is a yearly event of just celebrating Scottish culture and Scottish sports and Scottish food and drink. And so they did it all virtual this year. And I had my brother and my sister over, and they brought their significant other. So we just like drank a lot and we ate a lot and we were merry and we watched the stream and we celebrated Scottish culture. And it was just like the most lovely thing.
Beautiful.
So that's been kind of the gist of it. Work has been stressful. It's the busiest time of year, and we're having some troubles here and there, but trucking through it, trying to get through those times and stuff like that. The stay at home and COVID stuff has like given us a lot of business, but it's a lot of that creates a lot more busyness, and so it's been tough, but we're fighting through it, and doing our thing. But and then tomorrow night we're going to a drag show.
Nice.
Like a drive-in drag show in Chicago. It's gonna be so fucking fun.
That'll be fun.
So lots of adventure, man. Yeah, lots of adventure going on.
Nice.
I bought a domain I bought a domain for my voiceover website, which is going to be also sick.
What's the name of the domain?
LeeNicholsonVO.com. Got to be
Nice.
strict. Got to be straight and professional.
What happened to Nicholson's Pickles, dude?
Dude, that's my pickles company. Don't you get people to buy that domain up now? Oh my god.
We did
actually. I know I got to buy that immediately. We harvested our first cucumber from our garden.
Nice.
And it was beautiful. Like, it was literally the most perfect. It looked like a pickle, but it was a cucumber.
Okay.
We didn't pickle it, obviously, because we need to get like more of a yield from our harvest.
Yeah, how is the garden going? Did you guys get some good yield stuff?
Everything is still growing.
Things?
It's got some time. Our zucchini is like, the plant itself is lush. We've got some zucchini, some zucchini blossoms that are blossoming, but as far as the actual vegetable, we're not growing too much yet. This is our first go around of like growing a bunch of things, so it's like, we got to practice for sure. So, but it's exciting. It's fun. It's kind of like little babies. You're just like, ooh, growing and stuff. And so, yeah, it's really fun, and I can't wait to just like do more of it. Not only here, but like when we get a house and like, build gardens and stuff.
Yes.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that me and Leigh have been looking at. Like, me and Leigh have been looking at houses and stuff in our area and shopping around, so to speak. And we're like trying to be all sustainable about the whole process. And I would love to have a garden. I think it would be really cool.
Get a raised garden, dude, because like those, right? Like, that's the thing we're learning is like, things like to eat plants and eat your stuff. We had a cucumber growing, and then it mysteriously disappeared. Just like, we didn't know, no idea where it went.
Wow.
So we're gonna think about like if and when we build these things, like you could just do like raised gardens, and you just do just on stilts or something like that. So
fence van or whatever. Yeah.
So very excited about it. Lots of things moving.
Cool.
But overall, man, like, it's a dark time. It's very frustrating and crazy, and like I'm watching more and more of these the testimonies that are going on in Congress.
Sorry, right there, champ. Didn't mean to knock my mic.
So yeah, like watching more and more of the testimonies in Congress, like there's been a lot of streams of those for different purposes, and like those have been just interesting to understand deeper layers of our government and kind of what's been going on, and but that coupled with the state of things. Normally you'd be fucking pissed. You'd be annoyed. You'd be like frustrated with life and stuff. But, just finding things to occupy my brain has kept me positive.
Good.
And sticking to my guns about like, being creative and, finding out what makes me happy and doing things that make me happy is just like really countered that, very much so. Hey, Pivot all. Good to see your sweet little facey face. So just trying to stay positive, dude. And so like it's kind of interesting how easily you can kind of turn off the chaos. The chaos is there, but you could turn it off.
Yeah.
Just trying to stay positive through this, man. So
agreed, man.
Tell me about you.
You got it.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute, huh? No, it's been like a good 2-3 weeks since we've done a show. And a lot of it had to do with, I guess like my own burnout. It's very easy for me to get swept up in like things that I'd like to do. And I was doing a lot of talk shows and planning a lot of things. And I'm starting to think that maybe streaming this much during the week is probably not good for me. So like right now I do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time to be streaming. Yeah, so I think I'm probably going to cut one of those days, and I'm thinking maybe Wednesday. Wednesday might be the day that I cut and just do Monday.
It's a good idea.
Just because, I don't know. I feel like I used to have a lot more time to like be myself and work on things that I like to do. And, I mean, now that I'm working from home, it's definitely freed up a lot of my time to like do the things that I like right after work. Like I'm done with work, I leave my desk, I do a workout, I go rollerblading, That was something new. I got rollerblades again, so I'm back on my blades.
Those, dude. That's so great.
Back on my blades. And then I come home, clean up, eat dinner, and then start stream. But it'd be nice to just, I think, like, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out a good schedule for myself, so it's gonna take experimentation, and we'll see what happens. Usually that's like rad. Yeah, usually I don't know, maybe like I don't know, I just gotta figure it out. I gotta figure that part out. But other than that, I mean, rollerblading has been really awesome. I'm in very good shape. All the like frustrating things that like are in the world are being channeled into my exercising. And like rollerblading honestly like is probably one of my it's the closest I get to like the child state. It is so elusive, like for 30 fucking year old people. Yeah. Like it takes a lot for us to feel like we're going on an adventure and stuff without actually physically like going on a vacation or like taking a road trip or flying somewhere or experiencing something new. So yeah, that's been like honestly really awesome. And I've thoroughly enjoyed that, especially with how beautiful it's been outside. I did fall quite a few times, and I did end up fucking up my fingers in one of those falls.
Physical activity like that is bound. You're bound to get injured.
Yeah,
it's kind of, so it's like kind of like forgive me for like a side tangent, like just a quick side tangent here is like I find it kind of interesting where it's like how much the world doesn't do as much like outdoor physical activity as people in the past. And what I mean by that is like when you get like a bad cut on your arm or a bad cut on your hands or something like that because you were just like out there ripping shit up, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like whether it was like a rollerblading or I'd be gardening or something like that, and I would slash my hand or something like that, and then just that process of healing, that process of like scars and like scabs and shit, and like you're just and healing and everything. It's just like an interesting thing that doesn't happen as often. And so like I urge everybody that's watching, like look at your hands, and if they're like in perfect shape, you got to go get a cut somewhere, like
you got to put some work
you got to go
in. Yeah,
you got to put some work in it, like but like and so like I think of that, and then like we've been also watching the show Alone, which is there's a season on Netflix and there's more seasons on Hulu, which is basically like they just drop people in the middle of nowhere and the longest person that lasts wins like $500,000 or whatever the fuck.
Wow. Okay.
And so they have to do full survival mode. It's a fascinating and wonderful show.
Okay.
But through the show they like get cuts and they get they have to like try to bandage them up and it's just weird how like using your hands so much is such a less known thing nowadays because we've got stuff to do that for us.
Yes.
I'm not saying one way or the other is better, but just like in general, there is kind of an interesting euphoric kind of nature to like, getting your mitts wet.
Getting your mitts wet.
That's gross.
That's okay.
Sorry,
so
side
agree.
tangent.
I think
Keep
like
going.
No, that's good. Like I mean that was I was talking about this on stream when I first started, but basically like the process of like not only falling but falling in front of other people is interesting because that in itself like is like a big ego destroyer, like because I don't know, I'm back on my rollerblades, I eat shit in the parking lot, like I'm not going fast or whatever, and I've got like all my neighbors out like driving their car in the lot or whatever, or in their garage and shit, and they see me and like, or like I fell at an intersection where like I slipped on the grass and I just landed on my ass and there was like 4 cars parked and I was like, fuck, they all saw me. And my brain was like, dude, like they think you're a pussy. Like that part of my brain was like, dude, this is so embarrassing. You're such a piece of shit, baby. Like all this stuff. And I was like, and I remember feeling like that 10,000 times more when I was a teenager. It's like it was all about perception, like the outward perception. And just the fact that my brain switched to that so easily, I was like, damn, that's still there, dude. Like it's still there.
Yep.
And it was kind of humbling too, because I was like, dude, what do we do? What do we do when we fall, Steve? Like we get back up. We got to fucking do this shit. Like you came out here to get back on the rollerblades. And like, dude, now, oh my God, it feels so good. Like, I forgot, dude, I remember the routes I would take rollerblading when I was younger, because I would take these routes all the time. They were the safest, right? There wasn't like big hills, because I don't have stoppers on my blades, which means I got a T-stop where I drag the back of my rollerblade like on the ground or whatever, or like go in the grass. But
that digs at those wheels though, you know?
It does.
It wears those wheels out.
It does, yeah. So you have to be very careful with your routes. So that's pretty much it. It's like, okay, well, I know which spots I'm not going to be hauling ass on, and if I am hauling ass, like, it evens out, and then I can slow down and take a turn or whatever. But my first time on the blades, when I it was literally my first day on rollerblades, I ate shit, is because I didn't realize how long it was since I last used like the stabilizing muscles in my legs and like my core and shit.
Yeah.
So like I got like I'm trying to do cross-ups where like, you know, you're skating, and essentially to turn more effectively, you cross the blade in front of your other foot and you come over. And like, so I'm trying to do that, and I start to fall, and I turn backwards, and then I tuck and roll or whatever. So I fall fine, but I wasn't even going fast. I was just like, oh, and then I fell, and I was like, God damn, like it really has been, it's been a long time, because the last time I rollerbladed, I was like 24. So it's been a good like 6 years since I last rollerbladed, and even then, like I wasn't going on routes, because I would go rollerblading with James. We'd go for like 30 minutes or whatever to the park and back. But this is me by myself, independent, and I'm like trying to haul ass and like do the same routes that I was doing when I was younger. And I was like, I cannot believe that I was out doing this shit for hours when I was younger.
Yeah.
So crazy. Like I would be gone I would leave the house at like, I would get home at school at like 3:20, go rollerblading at 4, and come back at 6. Like, and I'd be on my blades the whole time, fucking blisters and all that shit, and it wouldn't even bother me. But now I'm like 30 minutes and I'm fucking dying, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, like when you tap into that stuff, like I totally know what you mean. It's just like you get back into that, you know, those the nostalgia moments of just like, I remember this freedom. Like there was a sense of freedom to it, because like, you know, you were just by yourself, and you were just like, you were, you know, even barely, depending on your age, like we didn't really have I mean, we had like portable music players and stuff like that, but it wasn't like as easy to carry one around. There were iPods and stuff like that, like earlier iPods, but it was just like, it was yourself, and like that was what's so great about it. And like and just like when you do that, when you're especially out there, like you can't like just stare at your phone and like check your social media.
You increase your chances of fucking dying is what you do if you do that.
And so it's kind of a fascinating mental state that you get into, where you are focusing on nothing but stability and travel and not eating shit.
In a lot of ways, I related it to it being like yoga, because it's a physical activity, but with the stimulus, the external stimulus is like, okay, is it safe? Really is the big thing. You're not really accounting for like any factors other than being safe, and like that's pretty much it, and your own controlling what you can. And I was like, that's kind of like yoga, like all the external factors of the world, they disappear, because for right now, like what you're doing, moving your body and focusing on those stretches, like that's what's important right now, you know.
Sorry, Pooch.
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, so that was rollerblading. Like it took me like 3 days or whatever, or 3 falls, and I've been rollerblading pretty consistently. Like I'm gonna say out of the past 2 weeks, or since I got my blades, I've rollerbladed like 4 out of the 7 days during the week, and which is pretty great.
Love that. Yeah. I love that, dude. I am envious. I'm envious of that, because like that sounds fun. That sounds like a great way to pass the time, because you're not only just getting physical activity, but it's a great, just like you're saying, it's a great kind of like you know, mental kind of
freedom,
meditation kind of state that you can get into and stuff.
And it's healthy too, because I'm not with anybody, so like I don't need to worry about like, you know, anybody getting sick or whatever. And the strength switch started happening, where like when I get home from rollerblading, I'm not as stiff anymore, and when I'm walking around, I can feel that I have like my hips and my back, and like everything is like, you are on the ground, dude, and it's gonna take a lot. Like I can feel, it's weird. It's like I'm taking like Goku's training clothes off, the boots, and then I'm walking around and I'm like, dude, I feel like you can't tip me over. Like I'm just so firmly rooted in the ground, and like all the muscles that like keep me in place, like when I'm rollerblading, they're even stronger when they're not on rollerblades. You know what I mean? It's a weird confidence.
You're taking your turtle shell off, if you will.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. And it's so I know anything else from your last couple weeks, because I think this might be a decent segue.
Okay. I'm trying to think.
Please share.
Nothing else. I've just been, let's see.
Positive mental attitude.
Christina's birthday is this tomorrow.
Hell yeah. Send those positive vibes, dude.
That's pretty much it. I feel like I'd be remiss. I feel like she's waiting for me to talk about her birthday. She's that kind of person that's like, it's her birthday the whole month, but I'm like, it's not. It's tomorrow, and that's it.
I can understand. I mean, like, so
do you do that? Do you do the whole birthday month thing?
Steve, remind me, your birthday September?
February 4th.
I was way off. Wow, holy shit.
Yeah.
I will say, forgive me, please. But I will say, like, celebrating a birthday specifically in this environment was very weird. Because you couldn't just like do what you want, and you couldn't like get all your friends together. You couldn't like go out to a bar and like just really have some fun. Mine was in May when things were just still in kind of like the height of things, right? And so like, you got to find alternatives on how to celebrate. And so like, I like the idea of celebrating multiple days of your birthday, because you want that recognition. Yeah. Everybody wants that recognition of feeling like it's your day multiple days, you know?
Yeah.
But I think, it just depends on who you are. You know, I don't discredit either way. But it doesn't, like, sometimes I'll do, like, if my birthday's on a Thursday, I'll like say the weekend before is like the celebrating weekend, or the weekend after, you know what I mean? Something like that. But yeah, nothing too far away from that. So
yeah. I got I don't think I have anything else. Rollerblading was honestly the biggest thing. And I made a drawing.
You made a drawing?
Yeah. I posted it on Instagram.
Get this out here, dude.
Yeah.
Show the world again.
I made a drawing. I haven't drawn in a long time. I like digital art quite a bit, and I like eyeballs. So I was like, I'm gonna draw an eyeball. We talked about this a little bit.
Ooh.
So here's the internet thing. Big Stinky.
So great. Did you do that digitally?
Yeah, it's all digital.
Love it.
Yeah.
Big stinky, dude.
Yeah.
Let's be weird. Put that on a t-shirt.
I was going to put it on like a mug or something, maybe.
Dude, do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Big Stinky. I was like, I want to draw eyeballs. And I was like, I used to do this all the time. And then sometimes I'd add like tank treads and shit onto them, or like gun arms.
Treads.
Yeah, I was obsessed with like street sharks, but I was like, I can't draw street sharks or whatever.
Oh my god,
I gotta draw something else. And then honestly, street sharks got me to rollerblading, to be honest.
I remember the smell of the plastic of street sharks.
Interesting.
You know?
I remember how
that's
they
the
feel.
thing.
I remember how
they were
they
were a little limber.
Yeah.
They were a little
rubbery
flexible.
Almost, yeah.
Yep. And I would make them talk, and it would just be like, Yeah,
they were pretty good quality toys. I remember like really trying to fuck those things up.
They gotta bring those back, dude. I love
those. They're worth quite a bit of money from what I was seeing.
I'm not surprised. Oh yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, street sharks. How much do these cost? And it was like $40 a pop for like a decent one. I was like, wow.
Damn. I love, quick also side tangent, I love that like how toy manufacturing companies are like redoing old toys. You know what I mean?
Oh, they did the Ninja Turtles, some didn't cases. They?
Yeah, dude, they did so they I think it's NECA or another manufacturer or something like that. They redid the late 80s line of Ninja Turtles toys like I remember having as a kid. It was the ones where you had like the turtles, and then all their weapons came in this plastic grid that you had to break them all off like to get the weapons, because they basically gave you just like the mold, which was like really shitty from a production standpoint. They just
got
like
it.
gave you the whole mold that you had to like break the pieces off and like get the weapons yourself. But like I fucking love those. But they're like redoing that exact toy in like a higher quality standpoint. And I need to get them. I absolutely need to get them.
Rocket Power, Travis, wasn't really I don't remember Rocket Power first. Rocket Power
Brink was
like,
definitely first. Rocket Power was the cartoon that was like early 2000s,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Street Sharks was definitely well before Rocket Power. Like I remember like that show, Extreme Dinosaurs, and there was another one that was like really weird. It was called it was like right at the end of the 80s. It was called like Biker Mice from Mars. That one, they were like 3 Terminator. They were literally like Terminator rats that drove motorcycles and had like fucking bionic arms and shit. Have you seen that?
I haven't, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah, Biker Mice.
There's only so many cartoons that I've seen.
It was right after like Mighty Max.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that show? Mighty Max.
I didn't watch that, but yeah.
Okay.
I was definitely the 90s cartoons. Your Simpsons, your Ren and Stimpy, your if you remember, oh my god, Reboot. Did you ever watch Reboot?
Reboot. Shit.
Like,
wow,
what
dude.
a fucking show was that, dude? Like 3D animation for the first time, like ever.
Reboot
like a full
was wild,
TV show,
yeah.
which was a 3D animation. Like someone find me those DVDs or something. I will pay you money if I can get
series, yeah.
If I can get all of Reboot again somehow.
Reboot the Reboot,
Woo!
yeah. Yeah, Biker
that
Mice
needs
from
to come
Mars
back.
is a science fiction action animated series.
Yeah.
It began in 1993. And
I love
there's
that.
mice
Can
motorcyclists
you-
named Throttle, Moto, and Vinny who escape a war on their home planet Mars before arriving to defend Earth from the evil that destroyed their homeland.
Can you pull up like the poster for that show or something like
Yeah.
that? I need to get like a little mental jab. And Pivotal, yes, they did, from my understanding, they did like brought back Reboot for a second. Oh, I think I do remember this. Yeah, fucking Reboot, dude. Oh my god.
Biker Mice from
I
Mars.
need that. This is what I need to do is I need to find one of these shows. I need to get very high out of my mind and watch it again. Oh my god, I do.
We're in
I do
legal
kind of
states,
remember
okay?
that. Yeah, I do kind of remember this.
Yeah, they had
Oh
these
my
like
God.
fucking crazy helmets and shit. One of them had a metal arm and he was the coolest. It was this guy.
That's so funny, dude. Look at the toys. Like, go back to that toy picture. Holy shit.
Toys.
Yeah, dude. It's
I remember having the motorcycles. Yeah.
It's Winter Soldier before Winter Soldier was Winter Soldier. That's so good, man. What a throwback. That's so fucking good.
Yeah,
I like.
thing.
I love that. That's like so classic. Like just limited articulation and just like
I really like the
fucking
simplicity of toys like that. It honestly, it's why I collect the ones that I do. Like you collect figures, and like for everybody who's seen my selection behind me, a lot of the stuff that I have is like really solid colors. They don't really have like articulation, and they're very like, it's I don't know. You just know it's a weird thing to know what it is like before you could fully recognize it. It's weird. It's like knowing somebody like it's like recognizing a human being just because of the outline. You're like, oh, that's a mantis shrimp with a man inside it. Like, I don't.
That's great.
Something stupid.
I think the. So there's an interesting like mental evolution that's happening out there for the generation that had more articulating toys, because if you really think about it, right? So the generation that grew up in like the 80s and the 90s, that was the evolution of toys that became more articulate, right?
Right.
So like I think of like the late 70s when a lot of the like the first kind of Star Wars toys came out, they were just really like the shoulder joints and leg joints, and that was about it, right?
Right.
And so when they started to develop these toys in the 80s and 90s, and then you got your elbow bends, you got your foot bends, you got your knee bends, you got your head, rotating and stuff like that. And so like So that's and that was what was so great about those toys, is because you can articulate them and then move them, and then you could like bring them to life again, you know, because you wanted that control of and be in that world that you loved watching on a movie or on a TV show or a cartoon or whatever. And so like so it was because it was playing with those toys that you loved that articulation and everything. And so what I think is interesting that's evolved into what is now for the generation that grew up in the 80s and the 90s is like you know, I still collect like a lot of action figures that are articulate, but like I love like the statues, right? And the non-posable things, right? And so now there's this interesting shift of like I appreciate now, like now I'm seeing that character that I love in like art. It become art, exactly, right? And so like there's this kind of weird shift that's happening, and so like
I think it's cool. I think it's a nice way for us to like relive the nostalgia in a way that makes us feel like it's like we talked about with rollerblading, to bring it full circle. It's like rollerblading. You capture that like inner part of your childhood, the wonder, the like amazement, the belief in magic, like all those things all those things that dissipate because life's really fucking hard, you know, and like you have to acclimate, otherwise it's hard, you know. It's
so I think that's like if anybody that's watching is like it needs to do something, it's like lean into the nostalgia, lean into the stuff that you loved as a kid, find that stuff again, revisit that stuff that made you feel that euphoria over again, and find things that you know that you could you know newly discover and newly like make you have that spark again. And so like I'm revisiting a lot of the movies that I watched when I was a kid, and like my dad showed me some like stupid like science fiction and like horror that you really shouldn't have shown a kid, you know, at that age. But I remember those when I was a kid. So like and so when I've started to dive into like, dude, check this out. So like I've got I did not plan this, I promise you. I know it seems like it, but I did not.
These are all your laser discs, right?
These are my fucking laser discs, dude. And so
Which is ridiculous, by the way.
It's honestly, ridiculous.
I loved watching Star Wars on Laserdisc with you.
Dude, I thought it was cool. Was it not awesome?
I thought it was cool. Yeah, it sounded great, which was really fucking weird.
Yup.
To say the least, because you are literally using giant CDs.
Yep.
It's like
giant data discs, man. Yeah.
Giant data discs. People were like, this is the future, bro. And they were off by like a couple years.
Exactly. Yeah. So like long story short, I know this wasn't a lesson on Laserdiscs here, but like the long story short, Laserdiscs are basically giant DVDs before DVDs existed, right? They actually came out before VHS, and they were higher quality than VHS for video and audio. But they were like just a couple of years too late as far as like getting them out there and like mass producing them. So like VHS came out and then took over the world, right?
Right.
So like so VHS is just like Laserdiscs are just so fascinating. So I decided to just like
they're the vinyl records of video is what I would say.
And it's so fucking hipster of me, and I know exactly what I'm doing to myself.
Dude,
but they're fucking cool.
You guys, we watched original Star Wars on Laserdisc with like regular effects before they like introduced all this like super fancy editing and shit. And it was pretty cool, like having the whole ritual of like the disc ends and then you put the new one in.
You had to flip the disc because they couldn't store so much data on one side of a giant disc. And so like I remember, for example, when I was growing up, because my dad has a collection, and this has totally been passed over to me now. My dad has a collection of laser discs, and I remember in Wayne's World, when you would watch Wayne's World, right? You guys remember the scene when Garth is like, rib for her pleasure. Ew. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
That's the scene that cuts out when you have to flip the laserdisc for Wayne's World.
And I just like remember that. Says that?
Yeah, it cuts out and then it
Well, that was the other thing too, was like it was, even though I saw Star Wars already when the first side ended, there was a part in my like natural instinct to be like, like, you know, like, oh, it's gonna, like, what's gonna happen? Even though I already knew, like, I already watched Star Wars. I know what happens to these movies, but like that extra, like, You know, like
Yeah.
action, that was an art in itself. So I'd imagine that like every Laserdisc on there,
Yeah.
like they tried to time the cut like perfectly.
And that's the magic, dude. And
Yeah.
like, and so know this, Steve, as one of my good friends, my collection will start to grow, and you will come over. We will watch Laserdiscs, and we will bask in that magic. And so
I gotta do it. I don't know.
the funny thing is,
cool.
is like, so a lot of these were like widescreen,
Yeah.
right? Widescreen editions. Now, widescreen that we know today is like your standard screen. Everyone is literally looking at a screen right now that's widescreen, right? Your
Right.
TVs, every TV is widescreen nowadays. But when tube TVs were around, widescreen was just letterboxing, and so like they just kind of condensed it shorter, but the view was wider. So that was like breakthrough shit, right?
Right.
And so like, so for example, so we're on this nostalgia train, right? And so like I'm living in this, so I found a website. I'm gonna drop their names, dude. Duffflix.com or duffsflix.com. I think one of the two. Let me remember real quick here. Oh shit. So much sensitivity right now. Yeah.
Duffsflix.com.
Yeah. Duffsflix. DUFFSFLIX.com.
Okay.
And so it's like this guy
Not
that just
sponsored.
like, not sponsored, not promoting, but I'm promoting. The guy sells a bunch of laserdiscs. He gets them. It's like the largest like laserdisc seller in the
on the planet, he says.
So on the planet. And so I bought a bunch of them. So dude, Steve, I got a bunch of space documentaries.
What? I want to watch that.
I got a bunch. Yeah, I got a bunch of like old universe, like Destination Universe. Look at this shit. Space Watch.
Come on,
like,
man.
It had like Japanese like dubs or something like that.
I want to watch that.
It's fucking cool. And then like got that Footsteps of Giants, which talked about like landing on the moon.
Cool.
Dude, check this out. Original Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein. Like this is the scene, you know, it's alive.
Yeah.
It's alive. Like
it's alive. It's alive.
Original Frankenstein.
Awesome.
Fucking Bram Stoker's Dracula, where
I've never seen it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. If I'm gonna watch it though, it's gonna be on Laserdisc.
It's gonna be on Laserdisc, man. Gary Oldman plays Dracula, and it's amazing. So nostalgia trip, right? Mark Shelley or Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I don't know what that one is.
This was from like the 90s, I think, or late 80s, I think, or something like that. God damn, I forgot when this came out.
That's cool.
But so this is another like Frankenstein movie, and this is actually where Robert De Niro plays Frankenstein.
Wow.
Which is magnificent. But like when I was a kid watching that, there was a scene in it where it was either like the bride of the it was the bride of the scientist Frankenstein, because we know Frankenstein is the scientist, not Frankenstein's monster, blah blah blah.
Right.
And so there's a scene where this woman or this wife was like set on fire, like straight set, completely ablaze, and like she's like set? Running away. Is like real? I mean, it's like in the story, but like, but they did a really good job, like, you know, practical effects wise. So she's running like on fire completely. She's running through this hallway, and I was shown this when I was like a little kid, which is just a dumb idea, but like, still kind of creates these moments in my life. And so I remember like going to bed that night and like having fucking nightmares that there was like a flaming full-size human being coming through the hallways of my house and coming into my room, and like, just, you know what I mean? It was just like,
wow.
So super fucked up, but like, but
traumatizing even.
Like, I'm sure there's some buried dark shit in my brain that's probably from that, but like,
honestly, there's so many stories like that for kids, like just being shown something. Like, I remember E.T. freaking me out. I remember the fucking dinosaur scene in Jurassic Park. Like, how old were we when we saw that dude get eaten by a T-Rex and his arm is like on, you know?
Oh yeah, like oh yeah, the goat leg scene. Oh, the goat leg dropping on the fucking car.
Yes.
So like, so we
have.
So my kind of full circle point here is like, we have these moments, right? And we get this stuff. So like, when I'm searching for Laserdiscs, because my dad showed us Laserdiscs when we were a kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna revisit this. I'm gonna get into this because I think this is like strangely unique and awesome at the same time. I'm gonna find Laserdiscs of movies that I loved when I was younger, And so I found didn't watch that too much. Yeah, didn't watch that one too much. But I stumble across Baron Munchausen. I stumble across, Frankenstein and stuff like that, and I'm like, this is a piece of the memories that I've got. And so for everybody out there, for everybody kind of like watching and stuff, it's like, remember those moments and like look back at those moments and just like revisit them, relive them. Even if they were weird and traumatizing, like know that you rose above those traumatizing moments because you're here today, and just make them a part of your life now. You know what I mean? And so like, and so
buy a statue, sit on the desk, and look at it. And remember that trauma,
right? Fucking, like let it stare you in the face and say that I rose above you.
Well, I think like what we're we kind of got a little off track.
Where the fuck are we, dude?
Like, I mean, we started talking about like that feeling we get when we're when we're collecting the things that
traumatizing nostalgia. Got it. Traumatizing nostalgia.
You got some trauma, you got some nostalgia. Buy things to remind you of them.
You guys are getting a peek into my psyche a little bit,
That's so funny.
That's so good. But we had a point. Well, and those points are, yes, we're bringing it back.
We were looking. You had like a segue about rollerblading. Something about rollerblading, or is it gone?
Yes. Holy shit! No, it's gone. It was no. So okay, I could bring it back. Reel it in. So we were talking about we're talking about nostalgia. We were talking about like physical health, right? Okay, yes. So here's kind of our segue, right? So it's the ability. So as Steve is doing about just like getting out there and stuff, and like someone said in the chat about like me getting in the grind of working out. Like I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm building some muscle, showing some definition of my shoulder muscles and stuff, But but yes, and it's like it is our duty as biological human beings to like treat this vessel that we are in with some respect and with some dignity, and that is due to like your diet that you're having, that is due to the workouts that you're doing, and a lot of people that may be out of shape or not that much in shape don't understand what kind of feelings you can feel when and if you are more active and more healthy with your life and stuff like that.
Oh.
And this is not preaching. This is not saying like you guys got to eat better and work out. But I just say try whatever works best for you in the sense of physical activity. Try whatever's best for you in the sense of having a little bit better of a diet. Because
that physical
trust me,
activity thing though, like is actually true. Like if you don't find a way you like to work out, then you're never gonna want to do it. You know what I mean? Like that's
like so
you don't have
Steve,
to, just because it's hard. Like working out can be hard for you, whatever. Like I don't know. Philosophy for me is just like if you can do whatever activity you can do every day, you should be fine. But the entry level is like whatever you decide. You don't need to go to the gym. Like I bought a pair of rollerblades. I'm like, this is how I'll do cardio. You know what I mean? Like I can run.
That's awesome.
I can do that. I don't want to. Like it's way more fun, to ride a bike and do cardio or like go somewhere, right? Running is sucks, like literally carrying my running sucks. That's pretty much
let's be real.
Let's
be real.
Running
Fuck
fucking
running,
sucks.
dude.
Fuck
like
running.
if you're and I think the people that love running, they're probably slender human beings where their body isn't that much weight that they've got to carry. Like I'm telling you, I'm 225. Like real talk, I'm 225, dude. And like when this shit goes up and down and gravity kicks in and my feet are the only thing that is between me and full collapse, like that's a tough thing. I don't want to run. Like I don't want to run.
I love that. Sorry,
so when we were
was well done.
So it's like when we were back into going to the gym and doing some activity, like I would do some weight training stuff and then I would do stairs, right? Do some Stairmaster stuff. And so now we've got a bike. We got a bike in the kitchen. You know what I mean? We got a little thing that we do. And so Steve, like to encourage those that are watching in the slightest. I know everybody watching knows and watches you all the time, so they know your regimen and stuff like that. But like what So based on your motivation, what's your go-to for workout? For staying physically healthy.
I mean, lately it's just
I know it, but just again talking
honest,
about it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess the big part for me was like trying to find when I first started going to the gym. I got very tired of going to the gym just because it was like you go there, use the same machines over and over again, and like the machines do one thing. They're like, do this or do this, you know, like it was very understimulating for me. And then I was like, well, I got to find another way to like work out. And then yoga was like the next step, because I was like, this is beneficial because I would like mobility, and I'd like to be able to like stretch my back out and shit. And then it was like kettlebells and steel mace, and the kettlebell is like, it's literally a cannonball with a handle on it. It weighs 25 pounds to like 70 pounds if you're a fucking baller. Dude, those things are nuts. It's
crazy.
Literally a cannonball with a handle on it. So if you could pick that up with one hand, like that's crazy. I don't even know what kind of shit you're doing. But anyway.
I gotta try. Let me try. Send it to me.
I gotta
ship it to me.
I don't have that.
I could do it.
But yeah, it started off like that, and then cardio was always like my opportunity. I did not like running. James runs quite a bit, and he likes it.
Love it.
But rollerblading was like my thing for a while.
Let's see those triceps,
I'm not gonna flex
dude.
on a stream, dude. No.
On, let's look at those triceps.
Here, you can. I'll flex for you, but I'm not gonna show everybody.
Oh yeah.
It looks like it looks like a face.
Look at look at this. I don't do shit, guys. Oh yeah. Oh, Steve, you guys are missing the show.
I wear a size. This is a large shirt. I upgraded to large, dude.
And you're taut, buddy. You're taut.
I'm taut, dude.
You know, we're trying to like look tougher than we are.
To be honest, I have been the most angry I've ever been in my entire life at the world. And then like
it is within your DNA that unfortunately physical activity heightens your testosterone, and when your testosterone is too high, you end up getting more aggressive. And that's just kind of like in our DNA. But what's amazing about understanding that is that you can control it.
Yes.
Right? When you get into kind of that like, you know,
like, I'm gonna go rollerblade.
I'm gonna go rollerblade, and then I'm gonna go donate to a charity or something like that. You know, you get like,
that's for real.
You can turn it into something.
Real,
yes,
I do laugh at
as
myself
you do.
when I do that, 'cause I'm like, I want to fucking rollerblade so hard, bro.
Oh fuck.
I think
dude,
about that
so
shit. I think about it when I'm pumping hills and shit. I'm like, this world's so fucking crazy. Like all this shit, all these like thoughts that are so that like race through my mind, and I just want to like, that's all put into my legs, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
you just go for it.
Go for this hill.
But I'm telling you, man, it's like
I've never done that, and I'm not like, I'm so angry, I'm gonna go for a run. You know what I mean? Like I've never thought about that.
Here's an alternative.
I don't know.
Here's an alternative for you. So Elaine suggested this, and my wife suggested this, and I was at like my immediate decision was like, no, fuck you. Are you kidding me? But then I'm like starting to think about it more. Another thing that we did when we were at the gym was fast power walking uphill.
Oh, like you did hills?
We did. No, so
were
we
you running?
Like, at the gym, we would do the treadmill, and the treadmill like rows, and so you get like right, so you could like do the height and rest. And so I did like power walking uphill. So like, and I would do it like at like a fast pace, and so I'd like power walk. So it wasn't running because it wasn't like as much of like the pounding impact on the treadmill. Yeah. So I do that or stairs, or I do the Stairmaster stuff. So Elaine was like, we should like try that. Like, let's, you know, for some cardio stuff, because the bike we have hurts my butthole. Like the seat is too hard and it hurts my butt. It hurts my butthole.
Oh, come on,
holy
man.
Shit. It does. I mean, like for those of you who have big butts, like that's what happens. So we're trying to think of alternatives. Here's the thing. There is. And it still hurts my butthole. There is. Man. But I don't want to add any more to it because I got a sweaty butt too. So that combo is just like real bad. So we're thinking of like alternatives of cardio, and so Elaine was just like, let's go on a power walk. Let's instead of running, let's go power walk. And I'm like, no, that just sounds lame. Because you think of like just old people like power walking in malls, like they do like the mall walkers and stuff.
Yeah.
But we got to try it. I gotta get over my ego and just like fucking try it, because I think it's better than not doing cardio. It's better than not staying active, because like I have been in my seat for 90% of the day.
Yeah.
I've been working, and now we're doing this. And so like literally to benefit my body, my blood needs to run more.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so like, not to take a dark turn here, but like, like I had a pulmonary embolism. So it's like a blood clot in your lung. You wait any longer, it shoots to your heart and you're dead, right? And so that was because of blood clots in my legs. It was because of surgery, but like you just think about blood clotting from just from stagnant still being for an extended period of time. Like that's what happens, right? And so just like, so when anybody here is like sitting at home and like working all day and like all that kind of stuff, like roll your ankles, like just like get your blood flowing in your legs, stretch out, walk, you get up and walk around, like just do some dips, do some squats or whatever the fuck, just like get your body moving and stuff. And then especially when you have like days off or you have more time, like go do a power walk, like go do a little HIIT workout or something like that, and it's like that's what your body fucking needs, like until, as we were joking before we got on stream, and forgive me for rambling, but fuck, I've missed you, man. I've missed you. Oh my god, I love this. As we were like kind of, and I lost it. Holy shit. No, it's fine. We're gonna come back.
You're talking about human beings being human beings and needing to move.
Need to move. And we were joking a little bit. I lost it. It's gone.
Until we can upload our minds into.
Yes, that was it.
Robots,
Until technology gives us the ability to download our brains and our consciousness into a robot body where physical activity will literally not worry whatsoever. And all you got to worry about is like,
we will have our boners still, just so you know. We still,
I know.
wieners.
Yes, we need boners. We need boners because like, the technology that of feeling, we need all the senses again. But until they figure out the technology where they could recreate senses through a roboner.
Roboner.
You know what I mean? That's what we need in this world. But until then, we are stuck with these biological organic vessels that we are in right now. E-girls are out. That's a good one. That's a good one.
E-girls are out. E-boners
are in. But this still isn't necessarily like a digital boner. I mean, it is, I guess, from a software perspective, but like it still would be, or would it be a physical boner?
It would be.
Gosh, that's an interesting thought.
That's an interesting thought.
If feeling is all mental, if it's triggers that are physical, but they're still it's like
that's what causes
it's still
the
neurological.
Stimulation is like, I mean, essentially you'd be a cyborg, right?
But you'd still
be like Detroit Become Human.
Yes,
they feel pain or whatever. Or do they?
But
feel
would you
pain?
need? They I think they don't, but some of them do because it was programmed in them.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they had like a program to respond to pain or not.
To pain, but they didn't necessarily. So that's why some of them like went off.
Yeah.
They just like, oh god, that game was so fucking good.
Yes, it was.
So, but do you need a physical like robo boner?
The question is the boner in your mind or on the body?
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Travis has got the Big Brian plays, dude.
Play the sound.
You got it. Big Brian. Big Brian.
That's a moment right there. That's a moment. That is an interesting thought. I mean, so then at that point, what's the point of a physical body, if you will? If we're all just uploaded into like some sort of infinite internet? I don't know, dude. We're getting weird. We're getting weird. So, but yeah.
We were talking about self-aware Brians.
Self-aware Brians, dude. Get those digital.
Self-aware Brian.
Oh, you did another sound bit.
I have them all now. Small Brian, big Brian, self-aware Brian.
Self-awareness Brian. That's great, dude.
We were talking about being a human being and needing to move, right?
Yes. Okay. So
your body, you got to respect your body, right?
You got to respect your body. Now, so full transition, and I've just got to pass it over to Steve because I've been really consuming this, and that's my apologies.
No apologies, man.
Physical health, and so on to boomers. Okay,
on to boomers. Yeah.
So talking about that boomer generation. Now, I'm going to kind of like set some expectations here and preface this.
I'm going to also set some expectations after Lee sets his.
Very quick and easy, right? So, Steve and I both got parents that are boomers, right? We all know boomers personally. We all know boomers very closely. I happen to think in general terms, the boomer generation messed some things up.
Sure.
Culturally, societally, you know what I mean?
Let's just say it's not just them, but like,
right.
It's been a lot of people.
A lot of people are fucking
right
things
now,
up.
everybody's real upset with the last generation.
With the boomer generation. It's the boomer generation.
It's a term that you say in disgust to a person in this day and age.
One can say, what's the current generation? Like Gen Y? Is that what that is? Is that what that's considered?
That's a good one. I haven't been keeping track, to be honest.
XY.
All I know
we're Gen
is that
X.
there's the meme, right? Like the attacking.
There's millennials.
Yeah, millennials are like there's a stereotype of avocado toast.
That's our generation.
Y?
Like we're millennials. I think it's Gen Z or Y, one of the two. Anyway, so it
doesn't matter. It doesn't. That shit doesn't matter. I don't think it matters.
But my point is like you can be angry about Gen Zers, which I am, and that's the kind of like these damn kids thing is in me, right? Like you could be mad at any generation. I know millennials and our generation probably fuck some shit up too, but we're just gonna really focus on that boomer generation in a couple of elements. And so, Steve, please, for goodness sake, go ahead and take the reins.
You got it.
And give us the article, that juicy data that we discovered, or you discovered. Let's chat about it.
Let's talk about it. I also just want to set the expectation too, like this what we're talking about. If you guys have any opinions on it, we'd love to see it in the chat. So like if you have anything in there, just let us know. And if you have any questions too, and I doubt chat's gonna like blow up, but just in case, log your question in here, but just by *Q and then type like your anecdote or question while we're talking about this, so that we can stay on topic and then also like revisit those things. And that's just for safekeeping. I don't know like who's gonna come into the chat, and you know if we get raided or whatever. I want to make sure that I don't miss any questions, because that's what this whole conversation's about. Christy, hi, welcome in. And as far as the other expectations go, I think this article is not just about baby boomers. It's also about the futures of other generations that don't really understand what this study has an impact on. So just to get into it, so the article is titled "Baby Boomers Show Concerning Decline in Cognitive Functioning. Trend reverses progress over several generations, study finds." So this was in Ohio State News. Basically, the findings showed that average cognition scores of adults and aged 50 and older increased from generation to generation, beginning with the greatest generation, born in 1890 to 1923, and peaking among war babies, 1942 and 1947. The score began to decline in the early baby boomers born 1948 to 1953, and decreased further in the mid baby boomers born in 1954 and 1959. While the prevalence of dementia has declined recently in the United States, these results suggest those trends may reverse in the coming decades, according to the study author Hui Zhang, professor of sociology at The Ohio State University. It is shocking to see this decline in cognitive functioning among baby boomers after generations of increases in test scores, Zhang said. But what was most surprising to me is that this decline is seen in all groups, men and women, across all races and ethnicities, and across all education, income, and wealth levels. So this is non-discriminatory in terms of the trend, which is the significance of this. Results showed lower cognitive functioning in baby boomers was linked to less wealth, along with higher levels of loneliness, depression, inactivity, and obesity, and less likelihood of being married. The study was published online recently in journals of gerontology, social sciences. If you guys want to check it out, here's the link. This is the actual study if you guys want to like look further at the hardcore science shit. Big words, really hard to follow, to be honest, like when I try to get in there, just because they use a lot of like words I haven't even heard before. I'm not that smart, guys. And so basically the data is from 30,191 Americans, so a pretty big sample size from 1996 to 2014. And they conducted a health and retirement survey. People over 51 years old were surveyed every 2 years. As part of this study, participants completed a cognitive test in which they had to recall words they had heard earlier, count down from 100 by sevens, name objects they were shown, and perform other tasks. Other research has shown that overall rates of mortality and illness have increased in baby boomers, but generally found that the highly educated and wealthiest were mostly spared. That's why it was surprising to me to see, this is a quote from him, so that's why it was so surprising to me to see a cognitive decline in all groups in the study, Zhang said. The declines were only slightly lower among the wealthiest and most highly educated. And then he compares the cognitive scores within each age group across generations so that the scores are not skewed by older people who tend to have poorer cognition. And even in this analysis where like you have the deficit of the older generation being factored in, the baby boomers came out on the bottom in terms of cognitive like decline.
Man.
Now,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in here. If you guys want to read it, we do have it in the Discord, but I'll post it here for anybody who wants to see it again. But one of the big things here, the baby boomers' childhood health was as good or better than previous generations, and they came from families that had higher socioeconomic status. They also had higher levels of education and better occupations. The decline in cognitive functioning that we're seeing does not come from poor childhood conditions. The biggest factors linked to lower cognition scores among baby boomers in the study were lower wealth, higher levels of self-reported loneliness and depression, and a lack of physical activity and obesity. Living with a spouse, being married more than once in their lives, having psychiatric problems and cardiovascular risk factors, including strokes, hypertension, heart disease, and diabetes were also associated with lower cognitive functioning among people in this generation. If it weren't for their better childhood health, more favorable family background, more years of education, and higher likelihood of having a white-collar occupation, baby boomers would have even worse cognitive functioning. And that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. We're talking about the onsets of dementia happening sooner in life for this generation. And a lot of this...
Yeah, that's... so that's all very fascinating, and I think that they're... You know, the more that we have these kinds of studies, the more that it asks kind of like, how did the generations get to where they are?
Right.
And how did they develop where they are? Because no one really like asks the bigger picture questions too much. Like it's all like, because
I have some ideas if you want to talk about those.
And that's what I want to chat about a little bit, because because I think, you know, generation after generation, it's all like always the focus, you know, culturally and societally has been like, how do you survive? Right. It's always like, you know, how do you get the right job? How do you get get food on the plate? How do you, how do you do this? And how do you just keep moving forward? Right. It's always like that kind of focus that then leaves all the bigger questions behind.
Right. Like health and food. But
health and food, yes. But I mean, there's arguments where it's like they thought about health, they thought about food, like for decades and decades. But it's just
that's where it starts to get disconnected for me, because like with the way I think about it, like we had the whole craze of like fat is bad, Like fat is bad. Like there are fat-free substitutes, and those are like fucking way worse for us, turns out. And then like the whole food pyramid being upside down.
Yeah.
Like
dude,
they were literally instructed for years throughout their entire life to eat a certain way and also look out for things. And I'm like, dude, like that has to fuck you up so bad. Like I can't even imagine because like I remember being 16 and drinking Monster and like eating Taco Bell and waking up at 12 o'clock and just being like, why do I feel like shit, but not understanding it. And like my parents didn't do anything that drastic. They weren't like teenagers or whatever, but like after I'd educated myself on nutrition and I started looking at all the stuff we had on our fridge, I was like, this is all terrible for you. Like you are literally hurting yourselves. Yeah. It's so crazy. Like that whole generation's fucked from that education, the misinformation of that.
But that's that's another element. That's another big point is like the understanding and the learning of this kind of repetition. And so it's understanding like the cause and effect and then the overtime development of some of these decisions and choices, you know? But then we start to see the bigger picture. We get more data from multiple, not only just like one study, but just like across the country, across the world, across, you know, like we bring, because we're all the same organism, we're the same species as humans. It's about damn time that we like take all the data we know about humans and put it together to start learning better and learning more about us, right?
About ourselves,
because now, about ourselves, because now, you know, especially like, society has existed for hundreds and now thousands of years, right?
Right.
But thousands of years ago, it was about you just need to survive. Like you need to find shelter, you need to find food, you need to find income, and then it started to develop and develop and develop. And now we're at the fact where we like don't need to hunt, we don't need to everyone has like I know not everybody per se, but just like people have somewhat stable incomes, and so like these kinds of things,
not everywhere
now, like once those things are out of, I know not everybody, but at least more and more
after this election and after all this like COVID shit gets over and done with, if society goes back to where it was and it's business as usual, I would be very surprised. Very surprised that would be the case.
I think I know we've talked about this, but I think like and I'm gonna pause this tangent, but like the universal basic income stuff, like once if and when that ever comes to be, just having that steady income into most of American society will then take that chunk of their brain that is worry every day, every hour of every day, and that worry is gone because they have a steady income, right? And so what that does for the human brain, that opens that up, the more that you chip away at your worry, whether it is your income, whether it is your relationships, whether it is your friendships, whether it is your contribution to society, I mean, like all these other things, then what's left, right?
Right.
Then you have nothing but your consciousness. You have nothing but you thinking about the world. You thinking about
yourself.
Yourself, and like and then you start to look at repetition. And so like the more that we get these documentaries that are coming out and these more studies that are coming out about like cognition and society and development of society and stuff like that, the same thing is happening right now with like the Black Lives Matter movement and like and taking a look at that. Like if you see the latest John Oliver, highly suggest that. The latest John Oliver is about looking at the history of America and slavery and how we snuffed it. Like we literally
properly. Yeah,
we weren't even educating people properly. And so now we're waking up. You know what I mean? And now we're starting to get more information. So now we get that piece, and it's not to like look back and say America was terrible, because it was. No, but it's like now we're here.
From. Yeah,
this is where we came from, and now now that is a piece of our history, and now we can learn from it, right? And so then there's that, and then there's World War I, and then there's
what
World
happened,
War II.
And it's how we proceed forward and become better, because we can't like just be like, oh well, that happened already, so we're done developing as a human species. Like no,
No, and like, and if anything, it's the opposite.
It's not enough, dude.
Like, why not open the door? Why not open the door
completely? Yeah.
And like absorb how we came to today, right? And then we take all of that information that we understand, and now we take that information and we say, okay, where can we fucking go from here?
Right.
And like, and how can we take all those other things as a society and chip away that bullshit and the dark stuff? And then like, we don't know as this is, oh fuck yeah, dude, perfect. Oh shit, this is beautiful. Dinner's here.
Yes.
I'm gonna put this aside. That's okay. I'm gonna stare at this and smell at it. It's fine.
You're good.
That looks beautiful. Oh my god. So so we take that opportunity to like strip all those things away. And so like my argument, and I know I'm bouncing around, so forgive me, but like my argument against a lot of the people that are like against like progressive, you know, politics, like things that are progressive, like give everybody healthcare, give everybody education, give everybody the ability to succeed and all that kind of stuff.
Make the internet a utility. Yeah.
Make it a utility. Yes. These kind of major things, like we as a society don't know what that's like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like our history is riddled with oppression and riddled with murder and riddled with, you know, war that just doesn't make sense. And like all these things.
We just need the honesty. Like that's what we need.
Yes, exactly.
And I feel like that's what everybody's like kind of like wanted, like needed, is like all of the interconnected world being like, this is the honesty. This is the truth of like everything that you grew up in. You know what I mean?
And so we take all that stuff.
Yeah, you take all that stuff and you adopt like the understanding that you learn something new and you proceed forward better than what you were before.
You know, what's interesting about that is like, that is the mind of science. That is the mind of trial by fire. This is the moment where you can take that information and you know, you start to assess, you analyze, you start to think about that information, and then where can you go from here? You know, in everything that we have created, anybody that can look around their desk, you know, I do this all the time. You look around your desk, everything that was created was studied and then trialed, and then you have that thing that's sitting on your desk. Like there is now something that was created based on like that was created out of absolutely nowhere. You know what I mean? A glass jar. I have a mason jar that I filled with scotch earlier, and now it's gone, so forgive me. So, but like, but this kind of vessel never existed at one point in our world, right? And so like, so we know that we are capable of thinking, okay, we gotta set, there's something wrong here.
Right.
I can't drink something out of the palm of my hands every time, or out of a rock that's been hollowed out or something like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Maybe you can. So, it's a piece of art.
It's a piece of, but it's probably not that functional. You know?
No, it's not that functional.
But it's the trial by fire. It's the testing. It's the assessment, and then you can get somewhere different. You can change our existence by asking those questions of like, hold on, this isn't right. Let me look at the data that led us to what's led to me thinking that this is not right.
Right.
As we're doing in society with Black Lives Matter and like politically and like, you know, how our democracy is being just like shattered as we know it in front of our eyes. So like we can start looking at that repetition in history. And now we're here, and what do we do with it? Right.
Right.
And so absolutely we need to take this information and then go, you know what I mean? And so like, and go with it. And so now when we start to assess these things, and so we think full circle back to this kind of boomer generation. And so that's why like in the boomer generation, what was weird. And so like my thought around it. And so this is where I'm interested to see what you think too.
Okay.
My thought as to why the boomer generation kind of turned out to be the way that they are, where they really had everything they wanted. You know what I mean?
And
they had cheap education.
They
had education. They had the ability to buy houses very cheap. They had a life that they could pay for themselves. They had drugs. You know, they like discovered drugs, and they were able to have this free drug-filled life and all that kind of stuff.
I would say that's more so now. I think like
that's now too. But
they had Woodstock and like that period of time, but the war on drugs like pretty much.
But that was the war on drugs. The war on drugs was more in the 80s than it was in the 70s and the 60s. Like there was more freedom in the 60s and 70s of like I'm gonna do acid all the time and like think different, you know. But you can survive. You know what I mean?
Know.
You can still survive.
I feel like all I can think about is like our parents' generation was like more like cocaine and weed. You know, like I don't know. That's what I
weed and
thought,
ecstasy, dude. I don't know. I don't know so much cocaine because like it was definitely more weed and ecstasy. But anyway, so but what
Sorry.
I think it was, and like the more that I think about it, there needs to be like some official documentary about the boomer generation because I think that would be so fucking fascinating. But like, what I think it is, and this, I mean, a lot of it's pretty literal, but like, you know, it was after World War II in the 40s and 50s, right? That you know, the boost of war developing, like creating money, creating infrastructure, creating you know, like boosting the economy. And then people were born in that, like after the war,
right?
They won the war and they had all this extra, you know, like economic growth, and then they were born in it. So clearly, yeah, they had everything they wanted because they had so much economic growth. They had, you know, their parents that were like in World War II or whatever and stuff like that. They got the money that they needed to buy that house that was the white picket fence and they, you know, house on the prairie and like all that kind of stuff. And
so of course, American dream, right?
Yeah, and so you had a combination of either one or two things because my dad had kind of like, you know, alcoholic father and like and as did my mom, and so like those so the boomer generation's parents had the torment and mental anxiety of being at war, you know, world war, and then they also had the economic growth and they had the,
well, like, I mean, if we're just going based off the, like, I want to refocus because like that study suggests that, you know, they were the study suggests that even with their childhood, like everything else was fine.
That's the and that's what I'm but
so I think it's
like,
the education and the government that like got us
there's
to this
that part
point,
too,
right? But I really think it's an education thing.
It's all an education thing,
you didn't even get to your final point. You were
no
saying
like it was the final point was really just like so you had so our parents' generation grew up, or the boomer generation grew up in a world of like being financially stable at least a majority of the time,
okay,
and also having parents that had some really deep dark demons that they like either suppressed or let out, right? And so that created this weird mix of like of rebellion in the boomer generation. So they had kind of the financial stability, but they also had the rebellious nature because they had parents that came from war. And then it just kind of snowballed in this thing of like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, man. Because like in the 50s and 60s, when people were that young, that is how you have these kind of breakthrough moments. So I also attribute to the boomer generation of like having a say in kind of progressing society in a way. And my dad's a super fucking hippie, so he has these outside thoughts and these, you know, these different, you know, interests and stuff like that, that led me to be the human that I am today. You know what I mean? And so I attribute that to my father, right? So and so my dad and I have had this like deep discussion about boomer generation because he gets furious with it, but yeah, long story short, it's like my point is like and so I'm thinking this way because you get, you know, bits and pieces of history. You get the story that's slowly being told to you and slowly being built for you to the point where you can come to a conclusion. And whether the conclusion is the boomer generation either did or did not crush society as we know it, like we just got to find that answer and then move forward from
2020.
But we won't know until all of the boomer generation is dead. Like, let's be real. You know, we won't know that until they're all dead because they'll constantly fight it because we're talking about them as an existence. And so of course they're going to fight it. Once people are probably going to fight about millennials. I guarantee you they're going to fight about millennials. 2 or 3 generations that are going to be after us, they're probably going to do the same thing. You know what I mean? But it's up to us to be able to understand our contribution to society, whether we are doing things for good or doing things that are damaging. We need to understand that. And to your point, it's all education. It's like we gotta learn about what we're doing. We gotta learn about how to positively contribute to society and do what's right for everybody. And so that's
the education system doesn't like do that though. Like
it doesn't, but we're exposing it now. That's the interesting part, is like we're now starting to like break it the fuck apart.
Right. That's what I'm talking about, though, is like that doesn't get. I mean, the way I think about it is like you have a generation that was essentially indoctrinated. And this is, I'm not trying to get into conspiracy theory here. I truly think that when it came down to education and how things were relayed to people in the like previous generation, it was all news, right? And newspapers. There wasn't like instant access to information or quick Googling of like, hey, is this good for me? Or what does this rash look like? You know what I mean? There wasn't the information age wasn't even like present for a big part of that. You know what I mean? Like of being able to access online information and have quick access to it and utilize it for those things. So there's this weird like divide, I think, between people who just like don't understand how technology works. They just understand the fundamentals, because like a child can use an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like the barrier for entry.
Monkeys can
use an iPhone.
God damn it.
That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. If you gave a monkey an iPhone and like just battery packs and shit, I feel like after, I don't know, if you just let that happen, you'd get probably another human being, very, very short and hairy and big bald, but
curious beings,
I'm wondering
man.
if that would be like a psychedelic enough event to cause like a change in evolution for them. But that's a whole separate conversation.
Stoned ape theory, dude. Stoned ape theory.
So like, yeah. But what I'm thinking is like when we were talking about education, I think that divide is really there. Like they were given information, everything was fed to them. So that's the default pathway. You know what I mean? The default pathway is like, somebody told me this is wrong, or if I take this drug or inject this bleach, it's going to kill corona. Like there's very little questioning why this is being told to you. You know what I mean? There's no analytical thinking process and all that. And I think
it's like I think it just goes like so through a lot of the education, so like this John Oliver episode, just kind of as an example, was just like was exposing the education system, and they were talking about like there were examples of like how they taught students about slavery like in the 50s and 60s and like throughout the decades and stuff like that, and it's just fucking hot garbage.
It's appalling.
And so but it was all, at least for the time, to control the information that's being taught, to control society in a way from a governmental perspective, right?
Right.
It was never to like actually inform. Yeah. And so now people are asking why. Now they're looking back at that repetition, because when we were in school, like we learned about slavery, but I didn't know how fucking terrible and like the Tulsa massacre. Like I never knew about that growing up. You know what I mean? It's like, and so yes, that could be damaging to a child, but we need to start thinking about how to educate children, even in the dark history of our past. You know, talking about fucking Nazis, talking about, you know, the Holocaust in ways that we can't hold
punches. Like you have to be upfront and honest about that, because the more you know about like the past, which is not contradictory. I feel like a lot of the past mentality is like, pick yourself by your bootstraps, stop being a bitch about the past and move on. But like, in order to move on, you need to address the past. So like,
you need to know where you came from. Yeah.
Right. And that way you can appreciate like where you are and like how you're going to instill values on like what you're looking for in, you know, the people that are leading society. Like those are important things. So you can be educated on where you lie. But the hardest part about all of this is like, you have an entire, it's very easy to just follow orders, but it doesn't mean that you should. There needs to be that extra layer of like, okay, well, why is this the case? You know what I mean? Are you
encouraging anarchy, Steve? Like,
that's what I'm saying, though. That's what they call it. They call it anarchy. It's like you have a free thinker or whatever. Like, you know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Anybody who's trying to have a conversation gets labeled and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why the exchange. Like, we were talking about this on Twitter on a different podcast, but it was like, it was just you see like 240 characters online, and then like that person will find like a vaguely something tweet from like 10 years ago, like a joke or something, and they're a completely different person, what actions they've taken. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy how like instead of having a conversation, you're looking for a reason to label and just be like, shut the fuck up. It's super weird.
It's like we're now a generation of super ADD people, you know, like we're now a generation of people that just like need the instant gratification of like, I want to get all my information in a tweet. I need to get my information from something that is condensed, quick. You know, I listen to my news. It's a 12-minute podcast every morning. And then I listen to another that's a little longer if I can make time for it. But just like, we are a nation of now repetition and stuff, because like the amount of information that is out there for a single human being to understand the complexities of the world that's around us is near impossible. You know what I mean? Like, we've got some really smart people in our society, but they're really smart in a thing, or maybe a few things, maybe some more if they're literally ultra geniuses. You know what I mean? You know, like the guy that's the
Jimmy Neutron.
Well, yes, but there's a guy like Jimmy Lin or Johnny Lin or something like that. That was like he like on a flow of the internet where he's, you know, he was in the military and then he's like this Harvard doctor and now he's an astronaut or was an astronaut. Oh, yeah. So it's like there are people out there that can really hold the capacity in their brain to absorb a stupid amount of information, right? But for the majority of us, right, you got to know your thing. So you could be really good at like one or two things, but the human brain is not set up to fully understand the multiple layers that are part of our society. So that's why like there is so much discrepancy in knowing who's right or wrong, right? So it's like, I know what I think is right because of the multiple perspectives that I try to think in. Even if I know like a little bit, of that perspective, I'll try to understand that little bit as much as I can. And that makes me think the way that I do. Yeah. Whereas a lot of other people out there, they just fucking have their blinders on, aka boomers, full circle, you know? So
full circle.
They think that it's like, unless if it happens to me, man, fuck it all.
You know what I mean? You're not wrong. There's been a lot of conversations. I'm like, dude, talking with like older family members, like in the same generation as my parents, it's weird.
They don't have the same perspective because they
just
their source of information was just a newspaper or just a single television or a radio. You know what I mean? Where it's like, now these generations, because they understand it and know it,
it's on 24/7 too.
Oh gosh, but they're using that internet. They're using that data information. You know, you finding that article, is a perfect example. You probably stumbled across it on the internet because you were on the internet, and then you're like, oh, this is a snippet of information, and now I'm getting like a condensed version of a giant idea. But I could at least have some sort of perspective on that giant idea, based on what I already know.
Well, I got a way to like loop this back in to
please. Reel us back in.
Originally talking about. So let's reel us back in.
Crazy.
It's okay.
I'm gonna have a bite of food. Is that okay?
You're totally fine. Yeah. So I'll loop everybody back in. Also, welcome in everybody. Bumble. I'm sorry I didn't get to say hello. We were swept up in conversation, and we're talking about a article related to the cognitive decline of like boomers. It's a study that was done by Ohio State University. But yeah, there's let me reel it back in. So the thing that I really enjoyed about the way they talked about this in this article was that they attributed it to not just like a boomer thing. Like, this isn't just because boomers and like went on the bigger picture like we're talking about right now. They were just talking about like what the main factors were, and it has to do with physical activity and obesity. Loneliness and depression is like the lower state, like the lower mental state, and that's a huge factor as well, because as we've talked about multiple times, your mental health is your fucking physical health. So it's tied. How can it not be? You know what I mean? You're gonna like treat yourself like shit. You're not gonna take care of yourself. You're gonna eat bad things. Like if you're feeling upset, you're gonna drink or gravitate towards like an unhealthy sort of bond. You know what I mean? During the loneliness or upsetness. And that's not everybody, but that's usually like when it comes down to I would say most people's life experience includes like some trauma in some way, shape, or form. I think it takes a very special individual to go through their entire adult life, very privileged individual to not go through some form of trauma. And then you try to deal with that trauma in some way, whether it's, you know, overeating or, I mean, some people develop eating disorders, like all mental health disorders. Like I don't know how much of them are genetic. I'm not an expert, like so many of you know, but I feel like there's a big factor in your physical and mental health attributing to like how successful you are as a person. Because the way I think about it is like this is a fundamental thing, right? So like, hey Bruce, welcome in. Yeah, it's if you're like not functioning properly on the just you being a human, like you're not giving yourself the proper nutrients, you're not sleeping enough, you're not taking care of yourself physically, or you're not like exercising your brain in some way, whether it's conversations with your friends or, I mean, some aspects in your job, playing video games. I mean, there's a statistic where like people who play video games are 20% smarter than like an average person who does not, or something like that. That's from Dr. K, Healthy Gamer _GG, who's a fucking phenomenal streamer if you guys aren't following them. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh God.
You got
said hi to Bruce and I forgot.
You talk about mental cognition, talking about your physical health that connects
Baby
to your mental
boomers?
health.
Yeah. Yes.
I think like,
and that's what we're seeing right now, like in terms of the older generation. So this study isn't just a study about baby boomers. It's a study about what our future holds for us if we don't change something, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think we need. It's like learning from it, learning from the past, learning from all of that. And so like I think that's what doesn't happen is like learning from our past and understanding our past, whether how dark or how positive it could be. It's like, how can you continue to just be a better person for society and for others
and yourself
because as RuPaul says, you know, how can you love yourself? Like, how the hell are you going to love somebody else if you don't love yourself?
Exactly.
And so like, you got to, you know, you start with your own physical health, which then attributes to your mental health.
Right.
You know, you get your body moving and then like you start doing things that you enjoy. Still a lot of the elements that, you know, talked about tonight, going down those roads of you know, of nostalgia and stuff like that, like going down those roads to make you happy, especially in this environment. And then you couple that with a little bit of physical health, and then then you're on a trajectory of understanding where then you can get a picture painted. Then you can understand, gosh darn it, I'm being too quick. And so now you're starting to get the bigger picture. You start putting those pieces together from the knowledge that you've gained from just like being experienced and like going out there and starting to absorb that stuff. Then you have a conclusion of like, okay, I am a contributor to society. I am a living human being that has something to contribute here. And I got to do what I got to do. I have to do something. I have to do something if it's for me, and and help that inspire others, and make a difference, man, and make a movement happen. You know, so.
Agreed.
Damn, what a good conversation tonight. Holy
Hell
shit.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, though. We looped it back in, guys. See?
Full circle.
This article, if you guys want to check it out, it's still on the Discord and the XP discussion channel. But this is the article Ohio State University Ohio State University published. So it's readable by you, the standard viewer, and then they do have the actual like study with all the big words. It's hard. It was really hard for my brain. Okay, I'm not a big brain.
Steve, you know, even in those moments, man, you take one of those big words, you Google that word, and you learn about that word, then you walk away learning a new word.
Right. It does happen though. I do feel that part of my like brain that's like, oh, you got it. Them dollar words.
You're trying so hard, man. You're trying so hard.
Them dollar words, yeah. But does anybody have
can we
any...
shift? Yeah, can we shift into questions, Q&A?
Yep, and you can totally eat while you're waiting for people to type in.
That's okay. I've gotten some. This is real good. It's like a noodle,
Hello there.
shrimp, a zucchini, creamy sauce. Oh my god, it's so
sauce
good.
is delicious.
Elaine
I was
feeds me
listening.
well.
I
My
don't
gosh.
understand. My school taught us about those subjects. Which subjects, Bumble, specifically, are you talking about? Elote?
subjects?
Ooh, elote is good. I don't really like elote, though, just because corn, but if I'm going to have it, I might have a few
Do you not like
spoons.
corn?
No.
Do you not like corn? You don't like
No.
corn?
Yeah,
Oh my
corn's
God.
not good, okay? I like tortillas, like anything with like corn tortillas, corn tortilla chips maybe. But like if you give me grains of corn or like corn on the cob, like I'm not going to eat that. I have a very
Because when you poop
strict
it out, it's like
no
the same
corn.
thing, right?
Yeah, it doesn't get digested.
I know, but it's still good.
It's not good. It has no nutritional value whatsoever.
That's gonna be like one of the last crops that we grow, like when society crumbles. I hope you're aware of that.
Yeah, but I'm not
'Cause,
going
like
to eat
corn is like a main export. But yeah, I know what you mean. But corn is
No.
good. You cook
No
it right,
thanks.
corn is good. Ooh, baby.
How does he maintain that beard? Have you been maintaining it?
Oh, geez. Kind of not really. Like I like
It is
I brush
bushly.
it. I brush it. I get your oils and your balms and stuff like that. And like
Yeah.
I'll trim it every so often because my barber doesn't trim my beard anymore for the time being, for safety purposes.
Uh-huh.
But I like contemplating shaving it the other day. So
You're gonna go
I'm
bald
happy I didn't do
chin? Dude, just shave your head. Go bald with me.
I can't do that, dude. I tried that once. My head shape is too weird. Like you've got a really good shaped head.
Thanks.
Mine kind of slopes down. Like I've got like kind of a heightened crown of my head,
Uh-huh.
and it just doesn't look good.
That's where all your brain is.
On the back of my head, just like right there.
Right
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah, I can't do bald head again. Maybe shave face. We'll see.
Bald life, dude.
Hashtag bald life.
Hashtag bald. You just call me Krillin.
Yes, dude. Can you get the tattoos on your forehead?
Oh, for sure, dude.
You
Why don't
to
you
do
just,
that.
I'll just draw them. It's fine.
Dude,
I don't
we're
want
on-
tattoos.
speaking of Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to Big Bad Toy Store.com,
Gangster.
bbts.com. Not sponsored, but boy, do I love these. I love that company. So I stumbled across there's a Dragon Ball set, which they're like apparently 1:1 scale.
Wow.
And it comes with the locator too, the Dragon Ball locator.
Oh, the
And it,
radar,
makes,
yeah.
makes noise. Yeah, it makes noises and stuff. So I've got that on pre-order. That's coming in the mail pretty soon. And I'm gonna have some Dragon Balls, dude. I'm gonna have some real Dragon Balls. I'm gonna bring them together, bring that dragon out, and I'm gonna wish for. Ooh, here's a good one, Steve. Here's a good question. And this is a question for the chat too. I'm gonna throw this out.
Okay.
If you had all the Dragon Balls and you were standing in front of that magical dragon, what would your one wish be?
I wish for Goku to be alive.
Steve.
Come on, man. We got to save Goku again.
Steve.
Because he wasn't alive yet.
Steve.
How funny would that be if we found the Dragon Balls and we had to wish Goku alive again? Come on, guys.
Steve. Real life talk here.
Okay.
What would your one wish be?
I
Would you wish for the most comfortable pair of underwear?
I wish that I didn't have to sleep.
Interesting.
I would wish for like the ability. No, maybe just like a fully optimized body so I could actually be like Krillin or Goku or whatever.
Interesting.
Optimized.
But so that would be
like
interesting
I would
because
only intake food. I wouldn't even poop because my body was utilizing all the nutrients so
okay. But
efficiently.
you said you wouldn't
I want to
sleep
waste. I don't like the I don't want to pee, poo, or sleep. Those are like all time periods I could be doing something else. So if you could
So
do
here's
it's
my
not as
question.
cool if I said that to the dragon.
I don't want to pee, poop, or sleep.
Yeah, I'm just like,
That's
can you
3
just
wishes,
optimize
technically.
my body completely so that I don't like I could sleep for 2 hours and be fucking up for 22.
So you do want to sleep a little bit.
If I had to. I don't know, like, whatever, optimizing my body to the point where like I didn't
because
need to sleep.
if you switch that on, like not having the abilities, or not sleeping or whatever.
Yeah.
I think you'd go a little crazy because like you wouldn't know what to do with all that extra time.
I disagree.
Because that's a lot. That's like a lot of time.
I know it is. Yeah.
That's basically like, that is like 8 hours.
You sleep more than half your life.
Right. So imagine having 2 lives.
That's what I'm talking about.
Would you live 2 lives? Like, would you live a secret life? I need to dig into your psyche.
I could be the night rollerblader in my neighborhood.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's open this up to the chat a little bit. So again, you don't have to be a Dragon Ball Z fan to understand this, but long story short, when you bring the Dragon Balls together, it summons a magical dragon.
I guess
comes
it's just
out of the sky.
It'd be a genie wish too. That's pretty much what we asked you.
It's basically what it is.
It was an anime
you get one
genie,
wish,
and it was way cooler than Shaq.
Yeah, way cooler than Shaq. That fucking giant dragon was so
all that
cool.
extra time, gaming time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Eventually, though, I'm gonna get to the end where I'm like, I don't want to game anymore, and then I have what? What do? I practice something. I
rollerblade some more.
Yeah, rollerblade some more. I don't know. Get hulked out. Get a Namekian Dragon Ball. Aren't those like fucking like huge? They're ginormous. Like a beanbag chair. Shaq and Robin Williams. Yeah. If I had to pick the genie I'd want, it'd be Robin Williams for sure. Basketball sized? Oh, yeah, you're right. Earth Dragon Balls are really small. Yeah. Namekians are the big orb ones. The standard ones will fit in like your hand, like.
Oh, I see.
More wishes, bitches. Give me more wishes, bitches. Yeah, you can't. Well, you can't. Let's do that. You can't wish for more than one wish. That's part of the rules for genies.
Interesting. Oh, I guess I haven't gotten to that part of Dragon Ball Z yet.
Oh yeah, the Super Dragon Balls are planet-sized. Yeah, I remember. Jesus Christ.
Dude, so I'm going, I've been telling Steve, I'm like going through all of Dragon Ball as much as I can. And I'm still like 1.5 seasons into regular Dragon Ball. So I can't wait to just peel back all these layers that I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z when I was younger. But dude, that's going to be the day. Like these like different generations of Dragon Balls.
I'm excited for you to get into the Cell Saga and like get through
I can't wait to watch
it
again. I can't wait to watch it again. Cell Saga was like so great.
Yeah.
Even the Frieza Saga was great.
I liked Frieza Saga. The only thing I didn't like about Frieza Saga was that I experienced it without DVDs or anything. So it was like it was literally like I remember coming home for weeks, waiting for this episode to air. It would air and then it would never like get to the point where it was literally 19 episodes of Goku like powering up and fighting Frieza. And the fights were like seldom like not really happening.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to control my body's physical age, like Benjamin Button, but like a transformer or something.
That's cool. And here's why that's cool. I've also thought, like, if you really think about the natural world,
hold on, I gotta stop you for 1 second because I really have to pee.
That's okay. I'll go on a tangent. I'll totally go on a tangent.
Yeah, go on a tangent, and I'm gonna be in the chat.
In the chat peeing? You're going to be in there for that long? Oh my gosh, this kid. Anyways, so I like that answer of the ability to control my physical age because the natural world, if you think about it, is very slow moving compared to like how we live, right? So imagine like the comparison of our human body compared to something like an ant. And so like an ant, it skitters very quick and it builds things very quick and it's got a very short life and all that kind of stuff. But if you were to like, put consciousness into an ant or whatever the fuck, then they would just feel natural. That's like their natural existence and their natural life, right? So it'd be very interesting if like we can take what we understand as a normal full life rather than it being 80 to 100 years or something like that. It's like 1,000 years, and then we can see how that progression looks. So, like, controlling your age, I think that's an interesting. What do we got? So okay, so any wish probably that to get laid by any dude I think of my mind. All right. The urge to be desired, I can understand that. The urge to be banged, if you will, I can completely understand that. Steve, how's your pee going? I need a thumbs up for Steve as he's taking a wee. Yeah, functional immortality and being able to live out countless lives is really interesting. Yes, I totally agree with that. Because again, it's like, you know, the generations that lived 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, like these generations that would, if you drop them into today's society, they would shit themselves and completely collapse from complete anxiety. So like, if imagine yourself developing through those hundreds of years and kind of seeing, you know, the progression of things. So it's like,
I can't even imagine being like a person and seeing the, like, you remember seeing horses in New York? Like,
but like,
dirt
but
road?
like, yeah, but like, but imagine
like
if you lived through that, so you understand it. So it's like, you know, in the year 2300, you're just like, I remember 2020. You know, we didn't have flying cars and we didn't have teleportation devices or whatever. And it's like,
would you choose
that
to
is
live
probably
forever,
going to happen. Not forever, no. I don't think forever. But I would wish that the natural world stayed the same, but human beings lived
in harmony,
two to three times as long.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that everything that we're talking about, like the learning aspect, it's like there's only so much you can learn in one lifetime, you know, and so if you're able to live 2 to 3 lifetimes, and everybody did,
yeah,
they had the ability to kind of consistently learn. Eventually, when you turn 100, you're gonna get your shit together, and then you got 200 years more in your life.
Yeah, like, God damn it, what would that generation be called?
imagine like you're, you know, people that were in their 20s, like when they turned 20.
Different words.
How free a life you were, and how like just open and honest you were. But then you start to get more mature. Then you get to your 30s.
They'd call them
and you're just such a different person. What's a centenary?
Centennials.
Oh,
get it? It'd be kind of cool.
Cool.
Centennials instead of millennials. Huh? Come on.
I like it.
That's what they would be called. Like, oh, you're only 100. You'll know when you're 200. Like our parents did for us, you know. No questions though.
And we're having that moment today. We're having those moments of like, you guys don't understand what it's like.
My hot take is that Dragon Ball isn't good. Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z? Bumble, I know you asked a question, or you said how you felt about like the use of the word boomer, and we didn't really touch on that, but I'm interested to know more. And then you mentioned also, wait, no,
I like how your option is your ability to do tax fraud without getting in trouble.
That's my ability. Yeah.
That's
but
so
then
specific.
You get people that were living 200 plus years prior running the show. I don't think so, Pivotal, because like those people get outed.
Perspective would be much different.
Yeah.
Because
you wouldn't have a choice. You honestly wouldn't have a choice. If everybody lived that long, you know what I mean? Like, well,
but then again, that could be
right,
a very.
We could have like the robot society, you know what I mean, where there's like 5 elders, and they're like 800 years old. You know what I mean? The elders will tell us what to do. You know what I mean? We could be that society.
If we were looking at a society that
Star
lives.
Wars.
Oh God, I want that. Oh, I want that.
Neuromancer?
Like we, you know, if we were living amongst, like our society was living amongst a society of humans that were 200, 300 years old, we would think they would move slow too. But it's just interesting how,
I mean, it doesn't exist, but like,
it's perspective. It's totally it's the same perspective of like when you were off taking a wee, we were talking about the comparison of like when you look at an ant, and it's like, you know, the ant moves very quickly and like lives a short life and stuff like that. But like to them, like that is their life. So like that is norm. So that could be interesting I don't know. That's such an interesting question.
It is.
Such
I like this power. I saw one once that was to be able to pull out the exact money needed to pay for anything that you were trying to buy. That makes sense.
Wow.
That'd be a cool power. But if I want to be realistic, I would probably wish for me to get into Air Force in my country, since I'm huge military plane enthusiast.
Love that.
Cool.
Love
there you
that.
go, hero
yeah.
boy.
That's dope.
Man. You guys have any more questions? Anything you guys want to talk about?
You guys want to know about us a little more? I know we got some kind of some new people joining us in the chat. We had like a little raid earlier or whatever. But if you guys want, you guys got questions about us?
We're down.
Who are we as humans? What are our goals in life? I don't know. AMA indeed, dude.
Hey, Steph.
We do have to do like an AMA episode. I think that'd be kind of fun.
I agree. Oh, dude. I guess this would be like a completely different episode, but I got rid of. I'm no longer like a Twitch affiliate. I stopped the whole sub thing.
Tight.
Because of the whole crazy shit that happened last time. So that's all done. 'Em. I'm still like, dude, they keep soft closing my ticket with them. I have a support ticket about like my June payout because they never sent it to me, and I left the program like a full month after, so I was supposed to receive my payout on the day that I withdrew from the program.
Oh shit.
And so they're just holding my pay, and so you have to open a support ticket. I've opened 3 support tickets, and they keep soft closing them. So I'm just replying every day like, hey guys,
that's bullshit. They're like
still
not
haven't
paying
heard from you. Well, they're not even updating me. They're completely ignoring me. I know how this works. I work in IT.
Yeah, but
okay?
that's like you not getting a paycheck.
They technically can, and I don't need the money. It's right now I'm doing it for a principle. Like this is me in IT knowing how to do like proper customer service, and I have gone a full 7 days without any contact since I've sent the information that they needed for all of this to be processed. And when I say 7 days, that's since my last ticket. I started opening tickets right after June 15th.
Whoa.
Or sorry, July 15th. So now we are into August with no contact or explanation as to what happened. So that's the issue. Is I know that they can withhold payments from me per the Twitch agreement that you sign, like when you become a Twitch affiliate. But this isn't about that. They didn't tell me that. They set the expectations that I would be paid out 15 days after like my account ending. More than that happened, and they set improper expectations for what would happen. And so now they literally just are withholding my funds, and they're not telling me about it. That's what I feel like is happening right now. And so when I keep opening these tickets and I don't get a response, usually what you can do in any ticketing system is soft closing tickets. So it gets counted as like, okay, well, the ticket's complete. It doesn't need to be open, and soft closing it will cause it to reopen in somebody's queue again. So I'm going to continue to keep doing this because like it just, they're not communicating at all. I'm just one email a day. I'm like, hey, this was my last message. I've not heard a response since blah, blah, blah. And then I list the date. And that's the only thing different in the email is the date.
Are you referencing your like past ticket numbers or something?
Yeah, it's all in there. Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's crazy. Fuck them. It's dumb.
I'm glad you like my glasses.
When did you two meet? How long have you been best buddies? Steve, do you want to tell the story of our friendship?
Oh shit. It's been Jesus. 2016? Is that right?
When did you start at Apple?
I want to say
because it was pretty much like when you started. I remember like latching on to you right away. Okay. It's been about since then.
That sounds about right. Yeah, 6 years. Wild.
It seriously feels like longer. Holy shit. No way.
Check really quick. I gotta look at the time.
Yeah, like check that again because like I feel like we've been friends forever. Yeah, Steve and I have been friends for a long time. Met at Apple when we both worked at one of the retail stores. Instantly latched onto each other because we're both just like 7 years. That sounds a little bit more right.
Yeah,
That's good. And then we gravitated towards each other. We found each other's orbit, and we were just like, we would literally have discussions like this just naturally.
Yeah.
Which led us to this show. But just like, yeah, we've been best buddies ever since because he's just a sweet boy. It's so easy to talk to Steve, as I'm sure you guys know. But, you know, when you're a passionate human being and you'll find another passionate human being, whoo, sparks fly, buddy.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Yeah. Gravity is probably like the best way to describe it. You got that. You have people talk about like vibes, and it sounds like a lot of woo-woo bullshit. But in all honesty, like we've talked about it on the podcast before, the words vibratory accord like makes more sense. You're just in rhythm. You're in the same momentum. You have the same like cares and things, or had similar experiences, and you just kind of gravitate towards each other. And me and Lee are pretty goofy ass people and who like talking to each other a lot. So. And
we like science. We love space, and we love like.
Yeah, initially this show was just all about like science, and then eventually this portion of the show, like the Exp Talk Show with Lee, when Lee's on, we usually talk about science or the human experience or something like that. And then the other shows are like, you know, showcasing a person or just having a conversation with people calling in while we're playing a game. So yeah, that's how we met. Give you that question. Hero Boy, I don't know what you're talking about with the cock blocking. You're being kind of weird now.
I want to know, Hero Boy, what so you say you want to get into the Air Force in your country. What country are you from?
Oh, there you go. That's a good question.
Right? Because in the Air Force in any country, I'm fascinated with that because the Air Force is very closely connected to like space travel and space programs.
True.
And stuff like that, because it involves a lot of the same kinds of technology. So I'm an advocate of, you know, being, you know, if you want to be a part of the Air Force, go for it, because you never know how you can branch out to just, you know, potentially being the next person that you have to go to space, you know? So hell yeah.
Sense 8, I have heard of it and I have not watched it, at least all of it. From what I remember in the show, aren't like two people linked? Like they can experience everything the other person's experiencing, and they're like linked in that way. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, that's what I think VR is going to be. Like VR will eventually be like, you don't know what life is like to be this person? Well, here's the simulator. Boop. And then like, how cool would that be to be educated? You know what I mean? Like,
love that.
We've talked about in past episodes where they're using it as therapy for people who are schizophrenic, like to get them acclimated to like public transit or like whatever. And they're able to like experience it without actually being like worried about, you know, is this person going to hurt me? And everybody's not going to be looking at them like they're weird. The environment in which they would be judged is removed because, you know, they're just doing the VR experience. And I'd assume that's what it's going to be like eventually. Kind of like the I Know Kung Fu thing in the Matrix.
I can't wait for that day. Oh.
Yeah. Neuralink, baby. Neuralink. Also, I think the Hero Boy was referring to Twitch fucking with your tickets. Yeah. I mean, I know how IT ticketing systems work, so it's not ambiguous to me. I know that you get a notification every time I send an email and a ticket gets reopened. And if you delete the ticket, it creates a new ticket, and then I would get an auto response, which has not happened yet. So
but that's what's fucked up, is that like that defeats the purpose. We're both in customer service.
It's not a support system.
It's not. That's the exact opposite of what a support system is.
Like if I saw a ticket that was sitting in my in my pod's queue for more than 20 days, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what's going on with this one? You know what I mean? This is on a report. Why is this ticket 30 days? You're bringing down the average for like our ticket closures.
Right. They probably don't give a fuck about that, you know?
Well, they're going to have to, because if I keep reopening this ticket, that department's going to get the lowest ticket response time like ever. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not threatening anything, okay? I'm literally just saying I need a response, and you need to tell me exactly why, because I don't need it. Again, I stopped doing the whole sub thing, not because I needed the money. I have a job. I just don't want to support Twitch any more than what's happening. That's why we switched to Patreon. That's why we do the direct support stuff. That's why the affiliate links are there. Like, you guys can support me by other means and benefit yourselves as well. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to. This thing is, I like hanging out with you guys and I like talking with you guys, but I don't agree with the company that I have to stream on in order to retain viewership or like talk with you guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the person, yeah. They keep asking about it. That's one of the K-pop stars and Leia's like fucking like K-pop thing. I usually turn the fan around because it's super distracting to look at if you're on stream. Because he looks like he's right at the camera. Look at this thing.
It's like peeking around your.
Yeah.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah. It's just K-pop. It's a K-pop person. I don't know his name. Peepin' Tom, yeah, he kind of looks like that. That's it, guys. Thank you guys for coming in. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I know we talked a little bit about that study, and I hope that, you know, there was some encouraging words for you guys to really go off of and feel like you can take something away from this conversation and maybe be inspired to do something for yourself physically or whatever. You know, whether it's like getting your diet in order, educating yourself about like nutrition so you can have more energy throughout the day, like getting to bed earlier, whatever it is. Because that study, like that study was like a big worry, because I know that, you know, that's the next that's the generation above us. So we're talking about, it's easy to see that study and be like, oh, that explains all these fucking crazy boomers or whatever, and like blame it on just like baby boomers all the time. And I feel like, you know, we can't just blatantly blame a generation ahead of us. Like, we have to look at the people who are responsible for society and hold them accountable. You know, that's what I believe. Like, we can't be mad at people just existing and having a poor education, or like not, you know, we have to do something about that. You know, we can put better education in place and inspire others to have conversations and talk this shit out. And that's never off the table. A conversation should never just be off the table. If it is, like, don't engage. That's a waste of your time and energy. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys want a good social media practice for Twitter, if you're gonna get involved with anything political, just say what you need to say and then mute the thread. That's it. Just you won't get any notifications on it. Nothing. Like, you just mute the thread. You put your piece out there and don't attack anybody. You know what I mean? You're just trying to shed some light and mute the thread. Don't worry about it. Don't check responses. Like, just try to help. And that's what you're trying to, that's where you need to come from, in my opinion. So you can have that conversation. It's all about like looking out for each other. Yeah. A full reset is the best step. Yeah. You had to do that with your mother tonight. Nice.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth the effort.
Yeah. Gotta mute the thread. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta walk away. That's a good conversation tactic to anybody who's being irrational, to be honest, though. Like, Steph, you laugh, but like my mom is that way too. I'd be like, you're yelling and you're not listening to me. You're not even having a conversation with me. I'm gonna hang up. She's like, don't you hang up. And then I hang up. I call back 15 minutes later. I'm like, all right, let's talk again. And she's like, okay. And like a completely different person. So it's just some people, Clover, you might have the same experience. Like, I'm sure people have had to deal with like irate people or people like in customer service. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be treated that way. You're trying to have a conversation, you need to step away. Like, when we would run into that at the Apple store, it's like, I can't help you if you're not letting me help you. So I'm not going to help you. And then I would walk away and their tone switches. They're like, no, I do actually need help. And I'm like, I can't help you anymore. I'm going to get somebody else to help you. You know what I mean? That's the repercussion. You know what I mean? Like, you can't expend all your energy trying to do that. Like, you have to know when to step away and just be okay with it. And then come back, reapproach if you have that rapport, if you have that family member. But it's not your job to, like, you know, put so much energy in that you are also elevated to that negative space. There's no reason for that. You're better
Nobody
than
wins.
that. You deserve
Nobody
better
wins
than that.
then.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to do it is very hard when you are like living at home, though, for sure. So more power to you to do it. Yeah. But again, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for the conversation.
Tonight was awesome.
I
have to say thank you.
Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you to those that joined. Thank you, Steve, for letting me blab for another couple hours. I missed the show. I missed you. I hope we can hang out sometime, do some social distancing, like backyard hangs or whatever.
True.
I'm going to try to get an axe at Home Depot so I could chop up wood so we could have more backyard fires.
Ooh, can I help chop wood?
Fuck yeah, dude. Talk about
Fuck
like
yeah.
a workout, like a natural workout. Hell yeah.
Maybe I'll get my own axe. We'll be axe.
Everybody needs an axe.
Yeah.
Use it for just chopping wood for firewood.
You guys want to come over and watch us chop wood? We'll have our shirts off.
Dude, roll up the sleeves a little bit, or just I'm a hairy boy, so when I get sweaty, it's gross.
I
But
bet.
chopping wood,
Chopping wood.
Chopping wood. I just had this fascination lately because like my neighbor downstairs, they have like a little hatchet. So I've been using that to just like, cut up little pieces of wood in the backyard for some firewood. But then like it kickstarted my like Boy Scout days. And now I'm just like, fuck, I need a hatchet and an axe. And I need to go live out in the wilderness for another week, just like, kick it. It's good stuff.
I agree.
Highly suggest, dude. Highly suggest.
Highly suggested. What do you guys got
All right,
going
y'all.
on this weekend? Anything going on? While we're wrapping up here, let us know.
Party City, man.
Party fucking city, bro.
But yeah, I appreciate tonight, man. Tonight was good. Tonight was a good show. I appreciate everybody joining up. I know we had like a little bit, few people joining up a little bit later in the conversation, so you guys didn't see the build up. But when we get going, man, when Steve and I get going,
this will be highlighted. I'm gonna be listening to it tomorrow, and then I'll be chopping it up so that you guys can listen easily.
Tight.
I think
Mount
you guys will
Helium.
enjoy that.
Where's Mount Helium?
Helium.
Where the fuck is that?
You got to name something Helium.
It's very close to William.
Yeah, but with a hey.
Yeah. For those that may get anxiety of just like being by yourself and like kind of doing nothing, you deserve that. You deserve those days. You deserve those nights. Just make sure
Agreed.
you're countering it with some progress and some education, some reading, some learning. William. British Columbia, yes. Canada. We're watching Canada's Drag Race right now, and it's a doozy. It's a good one.
Are they all super polite or no?
No, they're bitches to each other.
Wow.
Like it's pretty fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. I love
guys.
Canada, man. I love Canada. Oh my god.
We're gonna go over to hang out with. I don't know how much he's gonna be. Oh, maybe he's winding down. You know what? Let's just end because I don't know who's staying and who's going. Okay, the people that I wanted to raid, I'm not sure if they're gonna be up. But anyway, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. If you guys aren't already following Lee on the social medias, you can if you like. You want me to put those in or no?
Yeah, dude. Let's blast it out. We just talked about how I need to be better at Instagram or at Twitter. So yeah, totally, man. I'm open to it.
Is the Instagram the same thing?
Yep. That's it, man. I appreciate y'all. My Instagram I keep a little private because it's pictures of me in my own space. But
okay, I'll leave the Instagram off. But you guys can follow him on Twitter.
It's great.
He just changed his profile picture. He's handsome.
Mm-hmm. It's a picture of a close face of mine. It's one of my close faces.
The closest faces. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. I don't see us canceling for next week. So again, if you guys want to make sure you're following on all social media to make sure that you're staying up to date, there it is. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe you want to like and subscribe. You don't have to. Maybe a suggestion.
So great.
It's a suggestion. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us. And if you need to go to bed, use this as that sign to go to bed or work on that thing that you need to do. Maybe put a stream on in the background. I don't know. I love you. We'll see you later, okay?
Have some thunderstorm videos in the background.
Thunderstorms.
That's the
Bye,
best.
everybody.
Bye, everybody. Smooches, y'all.
Bye.
Whee! Boink, boink, boink.